So what is rotation? We're going to be talking about rotations across a coordinate plane. Rotation is a turn, or it's a transformation which a figure rotates about a point. For us, we're going to do the origin, which is 0, 0. What I want you to notice here is as the figure rotates, the direction that the figure is facing then changes. Okay, like this portion here is now here at the bottom instead of the side. In class, we had these notes written, and the notes for 90-degree rotation around the origin, this works for clockwise, and it also works for counterclockwise. Okay, for a 90-degree rotation, step 1, you're just going to swap X and Y. X becomes Y, and Y is going to become X. Then you're going to move on to step 2 and 3. If you're going 90 degrees, you're only moving one quadrant. You need to identify the quadrant so you can put the appropriate sides. I will show you exactly what that means in just a second. So, as you can see here, this is something that I had you paste in your notebook. This is an example of a counterclockwise, original shape being identified as A, B, C, and the transform shape being A prime, B prime, and C prime. If you just look at B right here, I'm going to go ahead and highlight that for you. You can see, let's go ahead and look at B. The original is 1, 5, but if I look at my steps, it says swap X and Y. Well, for B, it is. Right here where Y is 5, it is now X is 5, and 1 as in Y. So it's swapped. How do they know it's negative? Well, that is what I want to show you. So if I started in quadrant 1 and I went counterclockwise, that means I'm going to go backwards, just like a clock. Clock going backwards will be counterclockwise. Well, in this case, that means that the X will be negative. That's what we saw in just the previous slide. And the Y's will be positive. If I was going clockwise, then of course the orientation would change. If I was in quadrant 1 and I was going clockwise, what quadrant would I be? Think about it. If I was in quadrant 1 and I went clockwise 90-degree rotation, what quadrant? I will be in quadrant 4. I'm going 90-degree rotation and I'm going clockwise. So my X values will be positive and my Y values will be negative. Go ahead and put your homework page in front of you. I'm going to go over number 4 and I'm going to tell you the typos and what to change in 5 through 9 and to work them out. So we're going to go ahead and do number 4. First thing I want to do is I want to identify my points and I want to plot them so I know what quadrant I'm in so I can identify what quadrant the rotation will land in. So in this case, W is -3, -1. And all I'm doing is transferring the information I'm getting here. C is -4, -3. And then H is -1, -3. There's two ways to know what quadrant your original shape is. Well, I see that my X and Y are both negative. I'm going to look at what quadrant is both negative, and here we're in quadrant 3. We'll see if that's right by plotting. -3, -1, -3, -1. That is my original shape, so it stays just without the prime. -4, -3. That's my C. And -1, -3. That's my H. Now, step 2 in our notes said that you're going to move one quadrant 90 degrees. So we're talking about clockwise. So I'm here. I'm going to go clockwise 90 degrees. I'll be in this quadrant. This is quadrant 2. So I know my X values need to be negative and my y values need to be positive. I'm just following what I have in my notebook. For your case, your notebook. I'm going to go ahead and follow step 1. Swap x and y. And follow the signs for your quadrant. X is negative. Right here, swap x and y, and x is negative. Swap x and y, and x is negative. I'm going to go ahead and plot the points, and I'm going to get -1, 3. That's my W. And I am going to get -3, 4. That's my H. I'm sorry, that's my C. I'm going to get -3, 1. That's my H. If you notice, it has rotated. That means that the orientation has changed as well. I want us to go to number 5. And I want us to cross this out, and I want us to put 90 degrees, because that's what we're focusing on. All right? And really quickly, at the bottom, you will be switching. You'll just be adding that you are going to go clockwise for all of these. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick one. If I pick this one, D, I am rotating clockwise about the origin, and I'm in quadrant 1. So I know I'm going clockwise, and I'm in quadrant 1. If I go clockwise, I am now in quadrant 4. So that means that my order pairs need to be plus on the x and negative on the bottom. So let's go ahead and do it. Step 1, we're going to swap x and y. And for this one, my y's are negative. Again, swap x and y. And my y's are negative. Last one, we're almost done. F, we're going to swap x and y, 6, 3, and y's are negative. Please notice I put prime for each one, and that is the rotation. Follow your notes, and you should be fine. Good luck.